So we've said that the glucose is manufactured by the plant in photosynthesis, can be used by the plant in respiration, or it can be turned into cellulose or starch. So we'll look at those two in a bit more detail. So if you think of glucose as a little molecule like this, it joins up other little hexagons, and if it joins in a certain way, it joins in a spiral. Okay, and that is starch. And so the plant can make sugar or glucose in its leaves. It can then pump it down to its roots and store it as starch. So you've got your plant. Okay, you've got glucose here in the leaves. It then takes it down and it puts it into, let's say, swollen bits in its roots, like potatoes, and it turns it into starch. And that's the starchy stuff you've got in potatoes. Okay, so that's one way. Put a little flower on top, shall we? So these leaves, you can think of them as little solar factories using sunlight energy and generating glucose by this process of photosynthesis, which literally means using light to make things. Okay, photo is light, synthesis means to make things. Okay, and then the starch stays down here because starch doesn't dissolve in water very well. So it's very clever of the plant. Now, the plant can use that for winter storage. Okay, potatoes, carrots. It can also turn this glucose, so glucose here can turn into starch, but glucose can also be turned into, you can enjoy them in a different way, the glucose molecules. They make straight lines like this. So they make nice long fibres like this, which can lie neatly next to each other, and they can link together, and this is called cellulose. And this is, if you remember when we looked at a plant cell, we had the cellulose cell wall. Okay, that's what the cellulose cell wall is made from. And as I said, you've got the cytoplasm in here, you've got the big water vacuole, you've got the nucleus. Okay, but it's the cell wall that is made of cellulose. If you look at my friend the spider plant here, if I take one of its leaves, if I pull the leaf apart, you can see, if I get it right, it's made of fibres, little bits in there, little fibres. This literally is made from glucose put together. If you look at a dead bit, you can see when the water's gone, this is what the cellulose looks like when it's dried out. Okay, so literally that's what the plants are made of. And when an animal comes along and eats either the starch or the cellulose in the plant, when an animal eats that, we digest it, and all of those little bits of glucose get broken up again into sugar. We, as mammals, are pretty good at digesting starch into glucose, but we can't really deal with the cellulose. But herbivores and cows can do that very easily. So different animals and plants come along, come along and break down the starch or the cellulose, and then we use it in respiration. Okay? We also use it as a building block. We can use those sugars to break down and make into proteins and fats and bone tissue and everything that we're made of as well.